Hello, Autonauts, and welcome back to, well, Autonauts. In this episode, we're going to be popping down some of the finishing touches to our weed farm, and also starting up our berry farm, amongst very, very many other things. I would very much like to teach one of our terraformers to be able to lay down a sandy track, and possibly even to teach a terraformer how to build this kind of flooring. I'm not entirely certain about that, though. I wonder if sandy track is it is actually a building. Then that would really come under the purview of my builders more than anything else. But you may be wondering, why have we got extra boxes down here? Well, it comes down to something that I've been discussing the possibility of doing for a little while. Ah, Zoppy, you've changed shape. Well, I mean, I guess that isn't so bad. You're no longer as slender or as tall or as not as flashy as you were before. That's fine. Well. We have got a lot of upgrades. Good bot locomotion, good bot energy efficiency, good bot backpack, good bot power upgrade, good bot sensor upgrade, good bot brain upgrade. Wow, an actual microchip. Bot drive Mark 2, bod and head or Mark 2, and a good bot workbench. All bots are good bots. And bot storage. Now, the bot storage in particular is particularly nice. You've unlocked a new level of research. Oh, well, that's marvelous. But we're barely through level 2. We're not going down into another one for quite some time, I should imagine. Let's have a look. How about we start on construction technology? What are we going to need for that? Just some planks. Well, that's going to be a nice and easy one then. Well, Zoppy, I was about to get you set up with a couple of things, but apparently no. We need to upgrade now. What's going to be involved in an upgrade? Ooh, well, I mean, definitely worth us doing, I would say. But I'm going to go ahead and build a version of this first. We need square frames, so we are actually going to have to get those square frames first. Let's build a temporary bot workbench, just so that I can see what's involved in upgrading this. Oh my lord, that's going to take an awful lot of things to finish building. So I'm going to be stupendously lazy, and I'm going to move our construction workbots around a little bit. Let's grab this area. Don't mind that for now. Go over there, please. I'll pop you back down here shortly. You head on over there, build that for me, and then we'll upgrade it. I may find that they can upgrade facilities as well. That would actually be really, really good to find out. So, Zoppy, what you might be wondering, what you're going to have to do, is very simple. Let's go ahead and grab your brain. Now, I've alluded to the idea that I would like to have my bots have their own personal tool storages in the places where they're going to be using those tools. And then this can be replenished from the main tool storage where they are constructed. So, well, first and foremost, do forever. But within that, do until... let's see. We could have... Well, I mean, I could put in full, or rather, until not full, this structure. If that's full, then just keep repeating this. That's fine. I think that'll work quite well. At this point, if that isn't full, I would like you to come over here and grab a spade. The only tool that is being used in the wheat farm is a spade. So let's go and grab one, shall we? There we are. So once that is no longer full, head over here and grab a spade. Now I could, given that this is your only task, load you up with some ability to stow it as well. So let's pop that in there. Take from the crew base storage and stow. Well, actually, we'll leave that there, and you can just keep trying to go through that until you've managed to grab all of the spades you possibly can, and you'll try and grab the last one. If there aren't enough spades, then you can break out. Once you've done that, I would like you to just head on down here and drop it off. And that's really all you're going to need to do. We will, of course, empty out your backpack as well. There we go. And whomp, there we are. Move all the way down here. Keep doing this until hands are empty. Add to the crude blade storage. Crude spade storage, I should say. And... oops, that's not quite what I wanted. Well, let me cycle these around. There we go. That's a little bit better. I guess we could just use retrieve in here, actually. It won't make any difference for our particular situation. What you retrieve. I knew it was going to happen eventually if I started using right-click. This is why I don't use right-click. Is there an undo? There is. Oh, thank goodness. Ah, there is only one undo. Poop. There we go, Zopi. I have fixed your brain. And also put mine in the bin and got a better one. Because clearly mine was defective. There we are. All is set. And you should be able now to keep this storage full of spades for, well, pretty much ever, actually. So crack on and enjoy yourself. But with that, Zopi, you now need to move up to the farm weed group. Because you are keeping them with plenty of tools. Now, you know I actually need to adjust your brain a little bit, but I'm going to wait for someone to head on down and charge you up. There we are. I should also actually prepare some better upgrades for Zopi. Zopi, what kind of upgrades have you currently got? You have got no upgrades, so I'm going to grab you a backpack, and I'm going to grab you a speed upgrade. There we are. That should be pretty good. There we go. We can stop Zopi just as soon as you've emptied out your hands. Stop, please. Oh, no, you're running away. Well, that's just annoying. Oh, well. I'll be able to summon them back down here in just a moment. Right, you know, I would like you to stop doing what you're doing. Just as soon as you have actually finished that. Right, in terms of filling your inventory with items, I'm going to want you to grab from here. That should speed everything up for you just a little bit. I'll just pull Zopi over. Right, okay, so we want to draw from this storage, so we'll get rid of these for now. And go ahead and grab that. There we are. Move to crude blade storage. And then try to stow this. Now, we don't want this until backpack is full. I don't believe, at any rate. No. Oh, well, actually, that wouldn't be a problem for you in this particular situation. Yes, because of the way that the tools work. Yeah, that does, in fact, work for us. Move over there. Take from the crude spade storage and stow it. That should end up with you having one item in your hand at all times. So crack on with that, and I probably do need to adjust Zopi's brain a little bit, because until hands are empty is not actually what we want here. We want this to be until backpack is full, because realistically that's what's going to be your limiting factor. Until the backpack is full, try and stow an item in there, take an item out, and keep going through so that you do have one in your hand by the time you return down here. And then until hands empty, add in there, retrieve from your hands, but this should probably be until backpack is empty. So that should be fine. Retrieve from your backpack, add to the crude storage, and just keep going. And that should ideally work for you. And whilst we're waiting on that, let me go ahead and give you your upgrades. There's one. I need the backpack upgrade. Where did I stow that? I popped it down somewhere. Oh no, maybe I didn't. Zopi, you stood on your backpack upgrade. You might be. Yes, you were. You scallywag. You're trying to get away with doing less work. You just didn't want me to give you a backpack so you wouldn't have to carry as much. Scallywag. Ah, well. It's all sorted now. There we go. We should see Zopi bring down 3 spades at a time, which is certainly better than the one that Zopi would move if they weren't set up to use backpacks at all. When dealing with actual tools, it will probably be essential that they use their backpack upgrades. Right, now that that's done, let's head on over and set up the basic bot workbench, shall we? I think we should. Alright, can we upgrade that? And will... Oh no, needs wooden panels and square frames! Well, Drat, it doesn't look like we're getting away from this anytime soon. Well, where are the wooden panels? Is that something that we get under this technology as well? We get the square frames there. That's flooring by the looks of it. This is a bit of a tricky one. Get machine parts down there. Okay, well, this is not going to be as easy a job as we wanted then. We're not going to be making these upgraded robots anytime soon. Unless I can, in fact, make wooden panels already. I just don't know. No, it doesn't look like we can. Oh, well, okay, that's a bit of a shame, but I guess we're going to just have to wait on that one then. Okay, well, the next job then is to set up the berry farmers. And I think we can easily get that all going. And, of course, let's move back the construction area. All right, down there. There you go. And enjoy. There we are. Now, we're going to want to bring down the only tool that the berry farmers are going to use, which will be the flail. And I suppose that'll be a useful job for you. As yet, unnamed bot, who is now going to have a name. And that name is Tyrope. Welcome, Tyrope. Actually, before we cut you off, let me go ahead and upgrade you. There we are. Might as well do this now. There you go. And we'll also grab some running boots. There we go. This will be grand. Right. So, with that, let's get inside your brain. Now, the first thing I want you to do is fairly simple. Exactly what Zopi is doing right now. Just move over to the grate. We want to grab a flail, and then we want to stow it. Unfortunately, I'm not easily going to be able to do that one because I currently have a spade in my inventory. There we go. Perfect. Oops, that is not quite what I wanted to do. Right, we want this to be until backpack is full. So there we go. Move down there. Take from the crude flail storage and stow. Well, there we are. Stow held item. That will do. So we'll stow it first, then we'll take another one to ensure that at the last time you go through this loop, you will fill your hands with another flail, even though your backpack is already full. And once again, we want a little repeat over here until this is not full. So until there's actually room for you to store something there, don't bother trying to store anything there. And I think that makes a lot of sense, actually. Right, now with that, we're going to head on down and drop some things in there. So let's make a move. Do I not have anything in my hand? No, I don't, but that's fine. We need to pull something out of our hand anyway. We'll just stop right there. There we go. Bump. Retrieve. And, well, that's not actually what we want. There we go. That's a bit better. And stow. Perfect. Right, we want down here until backpack is empty. There we are. Move down there and add in there and oh no, we need to retrieve and then add in. If we don't try to retrieve first, this would probably break. The question is, will that break your brain or will that fail silently? I believe it fails silently. Let me just double check how we've set up Zopi's brain first. Zopi, do you retrieve first? Yes, you do retrieve and then you try to add, which is fine. That's exactly what we want from you. So that should work if we're lucky, Tyrope. And then we just wrap this whole thing up in a forever loop, and we should be good to go. I will add in an until backpack full command there so that you don't break on that one, but we want you to basically stay here until empty otherwise. So crack on. And whilst that's all going on, let's have another look at Zopi. Yes, you have got the break there. Perfect. Right, Tyrope, you're going to be in the berry farmers. There we are. And this is going to be a fairly simple one for you. You don't actually have any work areas designated by signs. You have just 2 crates, and that's all. There we are. You've now got 3 flails. Excellent. So we'll see now if your brain does break, but given that Zopi's brain hasn't broken, I am going to assume that it won't cause any particular issues for us. So we should see Tyrope. Oh, you're taking the road as well. I like that. Do you move faster on that? I think you do. There we go. And all loaded in. Perfect. And off you go again. Excellent. So that is the first part of that puzzle done. Now, I'm thinking of being a little bit lazy once again. I know. I'm super lazy. We're going to have some of the berry farmers actually dig this area up, and they'll just pop down the odd break in this. That should be fine. Yes. And all the way over here, that'll be fine. Yes. We'll have every other spot will have a hole dug, and that is going to be perfect for us. And then we can just fill it in to create nice long rows of berry bushes. So we'll have to do that little last part of the job ourselves. But before I set them up to do that, which I'm going to do off camera because I want to upgrade their bods to Mark 1s as well, I want to set up the new area for terraforming. Now the problem with this is that currently we again don't have any turf, which is rather frustrating, to say the very, very least. But now that we are going to potentially have sandy tracks to use, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this around a little bit. We want to adjust this area down to about there, and indeed here, that's 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll shift that across, and I think that should be good. Let's have a look if we can get this positioned correctly. There we are. This is going to be the highway just outside. That tile there is going to be a wall, however. So technically speaking, we do actually want to dig out in a 5 by however long. So let's go ahead and just make that slight adjustment. I would like to have dirt under these tiles, simply so that I can place down walls, because it won't matter that there's turf underneath the walls. It does seem to matter underneath the paths, at least when it comes to bots that are allowed to plant something in soil. Other bots, probably not so. And welcome back. As you can see, we have almost finished planting out the entirety of the berry field, and I'm leaving little gaps here and there. I may eventually put down some paths there. I probably won't, though. I think it looks nice enough just with the well manicured rows of berry bushes. The replanting and also the gathering are Namicam. Now we should see a charger heading for Nami right now. Ideally, unless all of my chargers are out of... Oh, both Zero and Manu out of charge at the same time. Oh, that is wretched. Okay. Well, I think it's obvious what we need to do. We need a new charger. That's going to be the first thing that we set up. There we are. You may notice we've got a lot of old parts. Now, I don't know. It felt rude to just throw them into the incinerator without anyone watching. I feel that there's some sort of ceremony here. I imagine Griffin is watching on with a kind of look of fear, if such a derpy and quite happy-looking robot could ever have a look of fear. Those eyes are not twinkling with happiness. Those eyes are twinkling with disgust and a modicum of terror, because what Griffin is seeing right now is me burning things that look very much like Griffin. Don't worry, Griffin. You will be upgraded at some later stage, but will you feel like the Griffin you once were at that point? Do the components themselves have their own ghost in the machine? That is a very good question. Is Griffin going to feel like Griffin when we upgrade Griffin, or will Griffin Mark II be a different Griffin altogether? Does Griffin Mark I want to be upgraded? Ooh, these are some hefty questions that we're going to forego answering in favor of naming a new bot. And welcome to the Automated Empire, Blood Alchemy. Okay, so we need to get you a charging banner. Let's get this properly named. We want it to be nice and large. There we go. And it will be Blood Alchemy. That's how I make sure that I remember how to spell it. Alchemy, if you're speaking English. Or of course, alchemy, if you're speaking Welsh. Oh, alchemer, actually. Right, subcharge. There we are. Perfect. Right, let's pop that down right there for a moment. I'm going to need your sign as well, Hobo Joe. Let's pop that one down. Right, Blood Alchemy. I need to go and grab Manu's brain. Manu, hold tight. It's gonna sting only for a moment. Then I'm immediately going to stop you. There we go. No. Ah, okay. Phew. I thought Manu was about to rush off and do their work. I mean, you know, I kind of want you to, so crack on. But now that we've got this, we can quickly upgrade Blood Alchemy. There we are. That should be pretty awesome, actually. And there we go. Everything has been finished down here, though everyone is out of charge as well, which is not particularly amazing, I must confess. Hopefully we can get you recharged. Are you in the middle of planting? You were in the middle of planting. I'm so sorry. There we go. Everyone's getting back to charging now. Hopefully with 3 separate charge pots, that's going to be a little bit of an easier job over there. Terraformers have finished their work as well. Well done, terraformers. Let's get you working on something else then. So for now, let's just stop the group and instead replace this sign. Of course, I'm going to need the whole group to move over here so I can get at the sign. Therein is the dark, evil underbelly of having them all idle on the side. There we are. We want to adjust this area ever so slightly. Right down to about here. There we go. And you can start taking care of this. Marvellous. Right, there we are. I'll pop that down on the ground. And this group can start again. Only Deer Pug, don't want you working there. I just want this all de-turfed. Now then, we've got a couple of other things that we need to do. As you can see, I've gotten rid of all of the berries over here. Though, interestingly, all those berries are gone. I think there may be a function in the game that gets rid of just random odds and sods if they're left around for too long. That's kind of annoying, though, because I was going to task Ica with picking those up, but it's fine, I guess. Right, we want to go and find Culty Bear. Culty Bear, you're moving to I Am Mother, because you're actually supplying the I Am Mother group, and that's what I want you working on from now on. Ica, I guess I'm going to move you down hither, then. Let's get this retooled. Until hands are full, I would like you to go and pick up berries, please, and thank you. And then we're going to go and drop these off elsewhere. There we are. And yoink. There we go. Until hands full, move down there, take from berry storage, and then, until hands empty, bring these up here. And that way, Kiwi can keep making plenty of food. It's going to be amazing. I am going to give Ica an upgrade for speed, I think. So Ica can make the trip that little bit faster. There we are. Perfect. Right, you just hang tight there, Ica. I need to get you some running shoes. And once we've got Ica set up, then Ica can also move into this new group. Where is Ica, though? Oh dear, I've lost Ica. Ica? Oh, there we go. Let's get you upgraded. You have currently got a stone in your hand, so I'm going to have to take that off you. There we go. I'm going to want that. Sorry, but it's now mine. There we are. Perfect. And you can begin your new job. Enjoy. Forever. There we are. Now, we are going to very much need to move these stones around. Now, the problem with that, we've got a bunch of bots currently stood there trying to take out of it, which may cause us some problems. And this will only really be an issue if it's not within a repeat command. That's kind of annoying, but it's something that we're going to have to do. If I had that in a repeat command, then it would be a lot easier to manage, but we're just going to have to move that and then stop and start everyone that was taking part in that. Sorry, I know this is going to break some of your brains. It really will. Is there anyone else there? I'm fairly certain there is. Who else is here? Okay. Night. Let me move over there and draw you over. Oh, Megan. There we go. Right, Megan, you're good. Night. Are you already working? Is there anyone else? No. I think we're good then. Right. Now, Travis, I think it's time for you to get a wee bit of an upgrade, my friend. I also think we want a new friend for you. So let's crack on with that, I think. I'm going to upgrade this to, or rather switch this back to regular bot heads for the time being. And we're going to build a new regular bot. There we are. And then we'll get all the parts to upgrade Travis shortly. But I do want Travis to have an upgraded brain. But we're going to create the new procedure and code for the job that Travis is going to do, and then we can just replace the brain. So who have we got here? Midnight Knight. Welcome to the Automated Empire. Let's get you a pickaxe. But first, the first thing you're going to want to do is until not full. Wait until there's room in there before you do anything else. At that point, I would like you to, until hands are full, or rather until, well, we could probably go with backpack. Actually, yes, until backpack is full, I want you to grab
a pickaxe and then stow the said pickaxe. Now, normally I put the stow first, but in this particular instance, I would like the stow to come after. So that once you've grabbed 2 pickaxes, you're only going to have 2 pickaxes. And that will be the point where you'll move off. So that'll be fine. I guess I could pop this one down and have this as a until backpack is full in there. There we go. So that we can break out of this should you be unable to find any more pickaxes. Though, then we'll be stuck in this little loop here. Ultimately, what I don't want you to do is to wander over here if you don't need to. That's my problem there. I guess we're just going to have to accept that you may have that move command and it'll be a bit superfluous. That's fine, though. Once you've got that, I would like you to move back down here. Ooh, we're going to need a sign, I think. I would like to have a sign so that I can eventually move you guys away from this location. So I'm going to pop a pause right there. Let me go and make another sign. It's been a long time coming. We needed a sign for the mining area for a little while, I think, but I, for some various silly reasons, hadn't already set one up. Uh-oh. Megan and Knight. Oh no, actually that looks like Ica. Ica has run out of charge. Don't worry, Ica. A charge bot will be around shortly, I'm sure. There we go. And, oh, it looks like both of our charge bots are right next to each other right now. Except... Silcast, why are you... Silcast, what's going on there? Why have you got 2? That is quite peculiar. But Silcast appears to have 2 separate areas following them around. That is really not the way that that's meant to work, but okay. Alright, let's get this sign over here. This will be our quarry. And we want to reset this. There we go. I also need to make sure the area is in the right spot. We don't need this to be max area at all. But we do want to set this... Well, actually, we may as well have it centered, thinking about it. And then I can just shrink it down. There we go. I think that should, if I were to have the sign be right there, would allow us to get all of this set up correctly. And the sign could be in the middle then. That being said, probably best that we don't do that, simply because I will want people to stand in the middle eventually with these kinds of signs. So we'll unlink the area and then slide it up so it's just sat on the right tile. That looks off for some reason though. I'm not quite sure why, but either way. There we go. That should work. We'll make it 1 tile larger though, just in case something falls outside of the area. I don't think it will in this particular case, but we'll just set that up like that. There we go. Right, Midnight Night. Sorry about that long delay there. What I would like you to do is, well, ultimately, I'd like you to use your pickaxe in this area. There we go. Right. So, the way we're going to set this one up, I could just move off just to stop doing that. There we are. Until hands are empty, we want you to, actually cycle. We want you to cycle held item down, so you should now have a pickaxe in your hand, because you previously had 2 in your backpack, but none in your hand, because you picked one up, put it in your backpack, pick the second one up, we'll give you a backpack upgrade shortly, put that in your backpack, and at that point your backpack was full, but your hands were empty. You should then move down here. Ooh. We immediately want you to cycle a held item down so your hands are no longer empty at that point. Then move down here. So that will be... we'll pop a retrieve there, just so that you've got that in your hand. And then until hand's empty, find nearest stone deposit, move to it, use held item, and then cycle. So you'll wear it through both pickaxes at the same time, until such a point as you fail for some reason. Now, we're allowing you to fail because you can't find enough picks. We're also allowing you to fail because you can't find anywhere that you need to... any available space to dig a stone. There we go. Now, once all of that is done, and your hand... I guess at this point, should you have fallen out of this loop, it's because your hands are empty, or you can't find another deposit. At this point, I would like you to try and stow whatever held item you have. That should fail silently if you're not holding anything, but in the case that you just can't find anywhere to mine anymore, you should stow one of your 2 pickaxes into your backpack. You'll always have room for that. At this point, until hand's full, I would like you to go ahead and pick up rocks. So find nearest stone, move to stone, pick that up. Now we've run out of room here. That's a bit of a shame because we're almost finished with this particular program. And we'll go ahead and set that up there. There we are. I'm going to have to go and get your brain upgrade, and we're also going to need a backpack upgrade. So those are the 2 upgrades that you're going to have. I'll go ahead and pop this stone in there. There you go. Right. We've got a pickaxe that I no longer need, so I'm going to go and drop that off as well. There we go. Hopefully we can draw that out. Nope, wrong one. There we go. Right, let's go and grab you a brain upgrade and a backpack upgrade. There we are. Nice. Right. Midnight Night. This is going to be quite cool. So we'll have 2 miners who will mine until they don't have a tool or until there's no more room, and then we'll promptly start loading up the stones that have been mined into the box there. And I think this will be a nice, convenient little setup here. So you're allowed to break here simply because if I didn't give you that allowance, then you would potentially get locked looking for the last stone. But once you've done all that, I want you to go ahead and, with a stone in hand, get rid of these, move up there, and pop that into the stone storage. And you will wait there until that has you've gotten everything out of your hands. Because at that point, I know your hands are empty. Your backpack might not be, though. And then finally, we'll wrap that in forever. So once you've done that, once you've emptied your hands, you should crack on. I guess with that in mind, we don't actually need this here, since you won't be able to proceed because you will be stuck here until your hands have been emptied. So I could get rid of that and free up 1 kilobyte, just in case we need it. So running through the program once again. If your backpack is full, or not full, so if you've worn down any of your tools, you'll go and retrieve those items. At this point, your hands should be empty, so you'll pick up some pickaxes, you'll stow them. Once you leave this area, you'll pull one of the pickaxes, the 2 pickaxes you've got, out of your backpack, and then you'll pop down here, you'll cycle the pickaxes between them, so you'll wear down both pickaxes at the same rate. Once you can no longer mine, either because you have no more mining tools, or because there's no more room for you to place anything, you'll try and stow any held pickaxe back into your backpack. You'll fill your arms with rocks, then you'll dump them off until you've succeeded, and then you'll go back through the process again. This should, I'm very, very hopeful, work. And just in case it does work, there we are. I'm going to grab your brain. So, first thing you're going to do, going to go and grab some pickaxes. Let's make sure that this all works, because this is a bit of a chunky program. We almost ran out of room. There we go. Both of them stowed. You've pulled one back out into your hand. You can see that there was nothing down there, so you stowed that held item. You've now got 2 fully full durability pickaxes there, and you're going to start to collect stones. There we go. Marvelous. And you're going to continue collecting these stones until all 4 hand slots are full. And then you're going to go ahead and add the stones to storage? For some reason you're not doing this. Why is that not happening? Oh, my bad. Until hands full. Of course. Until hands empty, please and thank you. There we are. You should move straight back down. It's fine. Until hands empty, you're going to unload. And then you're going to try and do some more digging if you can. Ah, marvelous. And if you couldn't, you would go ahead and gather more rocks there. Oh, that is actually quite lovely. I like that a lot. I could wrap this up in another loop until some sort of failure happens, but I think this is actually a good one there. I think that will work quite nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade Travis to the same program. And welcome back. As you can see, Travis and Midnight Night are doing a fair job of keeping this little area full of stones. Oh, well, not
full so much as it just has stones in it. Honestly, if you're overfilling your boxes, then you're probably just not using the resources fast enough. You should be stockpiling resources to that level. A little bit of a buffer so that you don't go through a period of complete want whenever there's some sort of production shift is fine. Oh, and we've completed our research as well. We've now got the crude gate, the crude fence, and good flooring. Oh, that's fantastic. We're going to have a look into those. Now, a couple of the other things have happened while you were away. I've been having the terraformers doing a little bit of work here and there. We've actually exposed a little bit of area over here. Well, not so much exposed as we have set that up to be turfed. We've got some stones over there, and we're actually making a good bit of progress with getting the stone pathways down here. Now, there are a couple of changes in the bot as well. You'll notice that we've got significant extra storage for both weeds and berries. And we have 3 bots currently trying to beat berries out of bushes instead of 1 dedicated hauler. And that's why this berry storage is not completely full yet, but it is slowly creeping up. We're stockpiling berries faster than we're consuming them. Now, effectively, I've got Nami, Azai, and Rui all updated to use a very similar program to Travis and Midnight Knight. That is, they will take out 2 flails, they'll beat bushes until there are no more ripened bushes available, or until all of their flails are broken, then they will stockpile as many berries as they can. It did require that their brains get slightly expanded, but here's a look at this program. It's fairly straightforward, much the same as Travis at Midnight Night. And I really do like that program of having them dual purpose in a way. I'd briefly consider doing the same for the weeds, but with the weeds, unlike berries and indeed mining, whilst the berry bushes themselves, and obviously the rock, never deplete, so you don't need to reseed the rock or reseed the berries, you do need to reseed the weeds. So the kind of brain that we would need to have one bot do all of this work would be fairly large. You'd need the bot to first dig up any weeds that are available until they can't dig up any more weeds or their spade runs out. Then they need to collect weeds. Then they need to plant weeds. And if they still have any left, once they've run out of weeds to plant, they then need to go ahead and stow that. And that is a bit more than a single Mark 1 bot's brain can handle, even upgraded. So maybe it'll be something we'll look into when we get Mark II bots. You'll also notice, though, that I have expanded up the storage over here. This is something that's been asked for quite some time, but we haven't yet set up the logic in how to make use of 2 log storages. And while I have expanded the storage for both seeds and sticks a little bit, we're probably not going to expand it much more than that, or at least not in the near future. I do have 1 new crate, though, and we're going to need another 2? Yes, 2. We need 1 for a spade, a hatchet, and a mallet, and then we'll have all of the tools brought over here and stored locally, much the same we do down here. And I think that's going to make for a much more streamlined process. Our bots are not going to have to wander off quite as far when they need to re-equip, and that's going to be pretty cool. So we've got a couple of jobs to do before the episode ends. So I've gone ahead and moved everything around that needs to be moved around, and we've built a couple of boxes, and all of these blueprints on the ground are, as you can imagine, crude stone tracks, because we want our bots to be able to move faster wherever they go. And they do seem to move a tiny bit faster when they're moving on the stone tracks, so we might as well try and get all of that set. I did go to the effort of laying down all of the turf underneath this stone track so it'll look right, except for this little bit so that it matches with the track down here. But as you can see over here, we have all of the bots laid out in their respect to their profession. So we have Applefumble, King of Kings and Obsidia, who haul logs, Clearden and Lady Wolfheart, who haul seeds, or rather, Clearden used to plant seeds, but that's probably going to be changing a little bit. Bubbles, who hauls sticks, because we don't actually use sticks here, but seeds we do use, since we need to plant them. Got Ashley and Zeechrist, who dig holes. We've got Vanya and Minoa, who chop trees. And ultimately, we've got the Unspeakable, who mallets the trees into submission. And eventually, we're going to need something to deal with bees. I'm not even sure how bees work. But for now, this is our array of bots. The first step in getting any of this up and running is we need to teach the bot what to do. I think we're going to start with the loggers. So Vanya and Minoa. Okay, then. You've had a rather large upgrade, I feel, Vanya and Minoa. You have also both been upgraded with a backpack and additionally a charge upgrade. So you'll be able to run a little bit longer on a single charge. Now, as you can probably already imagine, since their task is simply to cut down trees, we're going to go ahead and make use of all 3 of their inventory slots, the 2 in the backpack and the 1 in their hands, and really all they're going to do is chop down trees. But they're going to be watching this storage in particular, that is log storage number 8. I wonder if there's any way to rename these, for fullness as a condition to their continuing to chop down trees. So let's start with Vanya, and let's get in there. Right, we are going to want you to do this forever. And, well, we're probably going to have until not full on this storage in particular. That should be number 8. Yes, I think that arrow is pointing to the right one. Once it isn't full, then I would like you to, until hands, or rather backpack is full, go and refresh your inventory of axes. So we're going to want you to move over to the axe, grab an axe, and I am going to have the move order in here, I guess. I mean, in the case that your backpack is already full, you shouldn't have to do this, but I would like you to stow the axe as the first thing you do. So in case you have an axe in your hand, you'll stow it and then grab another axe, and so on and so forth. We know that there's going to be space in the backpack to stow whatever you're holding in your hand, because you would only be in this repeat loop if your backpack wasn't already full. So this way you'll ideally stow an axe into both slots in the backpack, and then finally, before leaving the loop, pick up a fresh axe. And then, simply put, until hands are empty, and this is until hands are empty, so you've used up all of your tools, I want you to go ahead and chop down trees. And yeah, pretty much keep doing that until you can't chop down any trees. I guess we could include a clause to stop chopping if all the trees have been cut, and then you could check for the whether or not there is any reason to chop down more trees. Yes, I suppose so. Sure, we'll allow that be in there. We're not going to need a retrieve, but we are going to want a cycle held item down. So there we go. You will cycle the axes as you work through them so that you never run out. Now, we are going to want to make sure that the cycle held item down is the last item in this particular loop, because if the last tree you chopped broke the axe you were holding, we want you to pull an axe out of your backpack, and thus for it to still consider you to not have empty hands. And lastly, we want you to look, obviously, in the forestry area for the trees to chop. And that is all you're going to need to do, Vanya, but you'll be doing it a lot better than you once did. I'm going to go ahead and drop this axe off over here, and we are going to get out a disc. I want to take your brain. There you go. And I'm going to give it to Miona as well. There you go, Miona. And then I'm going to store that away. There we are. Now, we are going to want a couple of axes in here to seed this, and we're going to need a bot for doing that. Now, this is probably going to require a new bot, but since we don't know that yet, I am hesitant to go ahead and build a brand new bot. Oh my lord, the parts from our Mark Zeros. That's kind of frightening, actually. Super frightening. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to seed the axe storage with just a couple of axes that I'm going to grab myself. Just 2 will do. 1 in my backpack, another one there. That'll allow one of our bots to start getting to work. There we go. We'll just drop these off. 1 and 2. And just out of curiosity, Vanya, how much memory did you have left? You had 5 kilobytes of memory left. That isn't too bad, all things considered. Miona, you are now up. Go ahead and grab some axes. You should be able to get at least 1, and this will also check if Miona can exit that loop if they haven't managed to grab anything. No. They remain in this until they have filled their hands. So we do need to include that little break clause there. Vanya, same with you. Let's make sure that you have a break clause, otherwise you could easily get stuck in that loop forever, and that would be a rather awful thing to happen. So you crack on. There you are. And finally, because we have got the clause for hands empty in that code, we shouldn't see a condition where they wander off trying to chop down a tree with their hands. They will be sure to have an axe before they do anything else. Miona, have you begun?
It looks like... Oh, you stowed the held item straight away. Right. Okay, well, that does mean that we need one final clause, and that is cycle item down, so that we can ensure that you have got an item in your hand at this point. Now, ideally, you should have an item in your hand by the time you leave this loop, but in the event that you weren't able to fully re-equip, you may only have items in your backpack, so this is going to be required. So I'm very glad that we actually activated you guys before we moved onwards with that, because that would have eventually caught me out. There we go. Now, obviously, if the whole system is operating normally, then it won't be a problem, but in this particular instance, that would have been a slight issue. Now, I think we are going to need a bot specifically for hauling over some axes there, and we're going to once again want a bot with reasonable inventory capabilities. We should be able to put together one regular bot. You've got mostly Dalek parts at the moment, but this should be fine for now. There we go. Let's get you on the go, and we're going to want a backpack, and additionally, I'm going to say a speed upgrade for you, simply so that you can get to and fro a little bit faster. The charge upgrade shouldn't really be necessary, hopefully. Ultimately, we're going to have the manufacturing area just over here, so it's going to be fairly easy for you to get back and forth. But still, that little speed upgrade, I think, will make a bit of a difference. Now, let's find out what your name is. And welcome to the Automated Empire, Lizzie. I've gone ahead and I've gathered Tyrope's brain over here, because Lizzie's job is going to be pretty much exactly the same as Tyrope. So let's just load that in there. Now, obviously, we need to change some of the finer details in here, because Lizzie is not going to be hauling flails, for example. So we do need to change this a little bit. First and foremost, I want you to check the axe storage, not the flail storage. I then want you to move over and grab an axe out of the axe production storage over here. There we go. Womp, and then we can stow that. We don't technically need to show that happening, we just need to slide these into the correct location. So stow the item, then take from the storage until you've got a hand with an axe in it and 2 axes in your backpack, and then we simply need to return over here and drop them off. We don't need that retrieved there. There we go, and this should be all we need to do, and we will have axes aplenty. There we are. Womp. We want to move over to the axe storage, and we want to retrieve it, and then stow that away. Let's make sure that that does go through the right order. Yep, everything looks good. Okay, Lizzie, crack on. Let's hope that this works. Now, of course, the next step is to make sure that seeds are being planted. Now, we're going to be doing that a little bit differently. And just like magic, there they are, fully upgraded. This is marvelous. Okay, so Hjarden, we're going to start with you, and then we will move on to Lady Wolfheart, though we do need to make sure that Lizzie is in the lumber group, since Lizzie is hauling from the lumber group. So Hjarden, now I've upgraded you with, once again, the Dalek skirt and the Dalek grabber, but we're going to stay with the vendor heads for these. Right, once more, we want to do forever. Now, at this point, we want to... Well, the primary thing should be to place seeds down. That's ultimately the top part of your logic. We want the ultimate job for you to do is to plant a seed. Everything else is just a step on that road. So let's make sure that we've got all of this set up. So the first thing we're going to write in is how to find more seeds, but we will then work backwards. Ultimately, you will start with trying to plant them. So find the nearest tree seed. There we go, and we want this to happen in the forestry zone. There we are, and we'll allow you to break should you fail to do so. But I do want you to stow this seed. So go ahead and just keep stowing them until you can't anymore. That will fail silently, so it should be fine. There we are. So going through this the first time, you will stow it in your backpack, and then you'll keep adding them, so on and so forth, until you can't add them anymore. Moving on from that, we will then try and plant a seed in an available spot. We've got to make sure that we've actually got that in our hands, though. Until hands are empty, we'll have retrieve at the end of this route, simply so that should we have planted
one of the seeds, then, and it was the last one that we had in our hands, we'll make sure to try and pull it from the backpack if we have any there. There we go. And then finally, the last thing that we need to do is, should you have a seed in your hands, let's get rid of all of these because you should already have it, then we want you to try and stow it. So there we are. There's 75 in here. What? There are more seeds in here than the thing can store. Shenanigans, I call. There we go. I've built 2 new storages, so we will have a little bit of room left to place that in. So, the final thing that I would like you to do, Garden, is if you have tried to plant seeds, but you can't for some reason, now that could be that you don't have enough seeds, but in that case, you will pass through this loop because it'll only work until your hands are empty. So assuming that you fell out of this because there's nowhere to plant a seed, then you can move on over here and start dropping those seeds in. But we do need to make sure that you cycle, or rather try to retrieve an item before you go ahead, though. We'll pop that one at the bottom there because we know if you're in this loop that you have a seed in your hand. There we go. That should all work quite nicely. That being said, perhaps we should ensure that there is a retrieve just outside of this loop. No, this should work, all things considered, because the only way to break out of this loop without an item in your hand is to have planted something and not have something in your backpack to retrieve. So that would be fine, because if you're in this loop and you can't find something to plant, then it's assumed that you have something in your hands anyway. So that should work, Hliaden. Let me just go ahead and copy your brain. There we go. And we will copy that over to Lady Wolfheart. And between the two of you, you should keep this place nice and seeded with new fresh trees. There you go. Crack on and enjoy. There should be plenty of seeds around for you to use to plant. There you are. You're making sure that your inventories are filling up. Oh, that's fantastic. Very, very nice indeed. We'll just watch Hliaden for a moment just to see how things are going. Hliaden's backpack is full. Excellent. And at this point, Hliaden should try to start planting. Marvellous. Hliaden should get all of these planted before ever considering to add more seeds into the stockpile. Perfect. Now that we've got that done, the next step for us is to make sure that there's places for Hliaden and Lady Wolfheart to plant. So, next up is Ashley and Seacrest. Get ready for your upgrade. And there we go. Brand new bodies. If only real life was this easy. Right, okay, so let's go ahead and set you guys up. Now, it's going to be more or less exactly the same mind as our log cutters. So, let's go and find, where are we? We will have Vanya. If you could pause right there for a moment, I'm just going to steal your brain. Don't worry, it won't hurt a bit, I promise. I don't actually know whether that's true or not. I could be telling fibs. I hope not, though. There we go. Ashley, let's get your brain replaced. And Vanya, you can crack on and do your work. Right, okay, so, Ashley, there we are. Currently, you're looking for trees, and you're also looking for axes. That will not do. We would like you very much to, first and foremost, well, do we want you to just continue until log storage? I actually don't mind if you just carry on working. We don't need you to not work, because effectively if the trees aren't being cut because the log storage is full, everything else will grind to a halt anyway. So we can get rid of that one entirely. What I would like from you though is to go and grab, well, first don't stow that. I want you to grab a shovel. There we go. So until backpack full, go ahead and take from crude spade storage and stow it. Making sure to stow first so that you will have a spade in hand as well when you exit out of this. You will cycle the item down, and at this point, until hands empty, we just want you to go and find a spot to dig in. Now, we want to specifically have you dig in the tree stumps, but it doesn't matter as long as we tell you to do that. It should still work. Okay, let me pick that back up. There we go. Find nearest soil, move to soil, use held item. There we go, and just make sure that that is working in the forestry area, and that should be everything you need. You've got 5 kilobytes of free memory there, Ashley. I could possibly even have you do another couple of tasks, maybe. If we find ourselves needing a little bit of extra work, then perhaps Ashley and Zekrist would be able to step in and help with that. But as far as things go, we just need you to grab a spade. Go ahead, you can break out of that should you not be able to find one, and then until your hands are empty, go and start digging up new spots for the seeds. Let's pause you right there. I want to swap over my disk, grab a copy of your brain. There we go. And at this point, Ashley, you can crack on. And I'm just going to load this into Zekrist, and we should be good to go. There we are. And Zekrist, why don't we get you going as well? There we go. Now, has Ashley already begun to dig? Yes, fantastic. I massively approve. Let's get the spade there, and we can give this to Zekrist. There you go, Zekrist. You can have one at least to start getting to work. There you are. Perfect. Though, we are going to need a bot now to load up the spades into that storage. Thankfully, we have all of the parts ready for us. So I'm going to go ahead and get a new bot set up for this, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to move on to the next task, which will be... Let's see. I think we should probably get the Unspeakable in action, just to make sure that we do actually have plenty of seeds, even if logging has stopped. And like magic, the Unspeakable has been upgraded. And I think the combination of the Dalek head and middle, along with the Mark 1 wheels, it's actually ridiculously cute. But also say hello to Velvet Shock and Derek Anderson, and thank you so much, Derek, for the continued patron support. Now, Velvet Shock and Derek Anderson are going to get to work hauling spades, in the case of Velvet Shock, crack on there, and Derek Anderson will be hauling the all-important mallets. And on the topic of mallets, let's get to reprogramming Unspeakable. And although the logic here is very similar to what we've already seen, I'm going to go ahead and reprogram Unspeakable specifically. So the first thing we want you to do is... honestly, mallet things until we've eventually got a full stick storage and a full seed storage. So let's go ahead and set these up until this is full. There we go, stick storage. And then exactly the same until the seed storage is full. Now, I've taken out Unspeakable's brain upgrade so I could give him a backpack and a battery upgrade. I may need to take one of those out in order to put the brain upgrade back. We will see how that goes. Now, assuming that Unspeakable has managed to fill up either of these or has run out of mallets, then we want Unspeakable to go and load their backpack. Until backpack is full, with a break, of course, I want you to go and grab a mallet down there and pop that into your backpack. But first, I want you to try and stow it. There we go. So that the last thing that we do will be... oh, actually, no, that one can be at the top. Will be to draw out the mallet itself and have that in hand. I guess I could put that up there. It probably isn't a terrible setup. I do get a little bit worried that this is going to go a little bit awry at some point. Now, we've only got 9 kilobytes free. So what is the next thing we want to do? At this point, we know that you have a mallet in hand. So moving back around to this section. Actually, we don't necessarily know that. If there were only 2 mallets available, then they would have both gone into the backpack. So we do need to retrieve. That would be the final... item there, is to pull a mallet out of your backpack into your hand. We can put it at the top for the sake of safety. Now, we need a tree. Well, we don't have one. That is an unfortunate situation to find ourselves in. Let's hover over here and quickly try on these trees. There we go. That will do. So we want these trees. Go ahead. I would like you to check for the forestry area, and exactly the same thing down here. Let's pop that in, and I want you to check for the forestry area. There we are. Now, there is a final thing that we need to do to make use of the mallet. We could cycle, I suppose, until such a time as the mallet breaks. I wonder if use held item breaks
actively or not? That is a bit of an interesting one. We could instead have this be a cycle held item down up here and remove the retrieve there, and instead wrap all of this into a until hands empty loop. That might work. It may fail. We're going to have to watch very, very closely on Derek to see... not Derek, on Unspeakable to see if this causes a problem. But it might be okay. We'll have to see if this works, because unfortunately, we may see Unspeakable move to a tree without an item in their hand. I guess I could put a second cycle held item down in here just to be certain. That might work. Sure, okay, well, we'll see if this works. Crack on then, Unspeakable, and hopefully this will ensure that we have plenty of seeds and indeed plenty of sticks to play with. Let's have a look. Where have you gone to? You've gone to grab items. Of course, you don't have any mallets currently. There you go. You now have arms full, hopefully. You're looking for trees. You are cycling your items, but you should see a tree here somewhere eventually. Oh, one thing I do need to check is that this is actually set to this area. It is. There we go. All right, well, what is the problem? We've got all of these places ready for seeds to be planted, but no seeds being planted. Well, that is a little bit of a worry. Hjarden, what are you up to? Add tree seed to storage. Oh, no. Ah, I didn't code you to break on this if this storage was full. My bad. We definitely want you to break there and head on out and plant more in the case that is full. Oh, there we are. Never mind. We have fixed it now. Bug hunting live. It's fine. Though that is going to cause a bit of a stall over here. But we can see the nice tree pattern that they're going to lay, which is all good. Now then, Bubbles, we're going to need someone to hold these sticks in. Otherwise, Unspeakable is going to forever smash trees. Also, we probably need to get the storages set up. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade all of the remaining pots, and I will bring you back in just a moment. And there we go. Everyone is now upgraded, but we are in a bit of a shortage of resources. It has taken me an inordinate amount of time to get all of this work done. The game does scale up a little bit in terms of time investment, even though you're automating things, and that is a big part of the reason why you've given the incentive to automate things. But we're almost done with our work. Oh my lord, this tower of discarded parts. That's grim. That is super grim. My goodness, let's load that up there. Right then, Bubbles, we need to get you to work right away. You've got a fairly simple job, though. You just need to gather sticks, and there's nothing particularly complicated about this one. We just want you to come over here. We want you to go until hands are full, find the nearest stick, move to the stick, and pick it up. Obviously, we want it within the forestry area. Let's just make sure that has been selected. There we are. And when you pick up a stick, I would like you to stow that item and just keep going through that process until eventually you've grabbed everything. And then finally, I want you to come back over here and drop these off. So until hands are empty, pop that one in there. There we go. And just keep going. But we do want the retrieve to be at the bottom of that queue, just to make sure that you put something back in your hands if you happened to have something still in your backpack before you're done. And that is honestly the simplest job in the whole of the forestry area. We may have to have you deal with the bee nests simply because you've got so much free brain power. But there we go, Bubbles. Crack on then. You've got a backpack and a speed upgrade, so this should be fairly easy for you. But let's just watch just to be absolutely positively certain that everything is going to go okay. But this should eventually set things up enough that Unspeakable will stop bullying all of these poor trees. Where is Unspeakable right now? They're currently there, bullying that tree. My lord. Such violence. There we go. This shouldn't take too terribly long to set up. Ooh, Bubbles, have you managed to drop everything off, or were there just that many bots waiting for pickup there that the moment you dropped any into the stick storage, they were immediately pulled back out? It could easily have been that case. There were a lot of tools needed. As we can see, quite a few of the tools have actually completely run down.
My goodness. All right, so the final part then. You'll notice that Obsidian is set up slightly different from Apple, Fumble, or King of Kings. Now, what I would like to do, as our wood choppers are checking this log storage for fullness, both Apple Fumble and King of Kings need to load into there. And this is going to be a fairly easy one. Though, honestly, have I given you backpacks? Because that would be awful. No, I haven't. Good. There's no point in having backpacks for this particular job, since you can never carry more than one log. So, simply put, I would like you to, until hands full, I will put this in a loop just so that the loop can break should there be an issue. I would like you to look within the forestry zone. There you go. And once you've got that, I would like you very much to drop it off. Until hands are empty, go ahead and drop this down here. Now that leaves you with a very large amount of empty room in your brain. I would like you to potentially break out of this. So given that, and we'll also then have until hands empty in here, you can go ahead and drop these off in this one as well. Just in case you end up filling that one up, you can start dropping off here. But generally speaking, this is kind of surplus to demand, and I'll point out why in just a moment. Remember that our wood choppers are looking at this storage. Once this storage is full, even though our bots are dropping some off in this storage, and potentially this one's empty, our lumberjacks will stop chopping trees at this point. Right, I would like to grab your brain, please, Apple Fumble. There we go, and with that, you're free to go on your merry way. Let's go and update King of Kings down here. There you are, King of Kings. Let's get you going. And there we go. Start loading up all of these precious logs. Marvelous. Right, there we go. Now, as some of you are probably already keyed into, Obsidia, exactly the same loadout, but different body, is going to be shifting logs from this storage to this storage, and that is all that they are going to do. This way, as this one is filling up, this one is also filling up, and this is the one that everyone is going to be taking items from. So effectively, we will fill up both storages. Now, I could have just left it to Apple Fumble and King of Kings. The only problem there is that this storage is never actually being accessed by any of our other bots. The fact that King of Kings and Apple Fumble are going to also drop logs off here if they happen to be outpacing Obsidia's ability to shift them is just because they have extra room in their brain to do it. It's just something nice that they can do, but it's not actually required. The main part of this is that Obsidia moves logs from this storage to this one. This storage controls whether the forestry area is active. This storage is where everyone is going to expect to find logs for other processes outside of forestry, because we don't want to have to build into all of our hauler bots to check every single one of the storages, because potentially later down the line we might have 4 or 10 of these different pallets set up, and each one would only need one bot whose job is to shift it down the line, and that way we could ensure that all pallets were being fully used. So all I need you to do, Obsidia, is move over here, and once again, until hands are full with a break, just in case. Let's slide that in there, and then I would like you to drop that off down here. Once more, we'll pop in a until hands empty. There we go, and oop, no, that's in the wrong place. Bump, super simple little script there, but that is really all we need, and you can do that forever. And with that, we've come to the end of today's episode. We are making some headway in setting up all of the paths around here. I'm actually pretty happy with that. I'll probably prop down a little turf there, perhaps. I may actually remove the turf around here. Place down some turf to have the path link up into the highway, or I might just leave it as is. We've got a little bit more work to do with that. But over on the side here, we've got plenty of paving stones going down. I do wish there was a way I could turn off the signs AoE, because it makes it very hard to see and to get a very clear picture of what's going on. But by and large, things are good. In the next episode, we're going to be working on the Manufactorum. Finally, we're going to be moving everything up there and probably setting up a proper little cooking area just down here by the heads that will probably then require that we move the village once again. It's a small price to pay. We have definitely got a good setup with our food production at the moment, at the very least. And I'm really glad glad that we revisited the Forestry, which was the very first area that we ever set up, and made sure that that has been upgraded with better bots and indeed better script, now that we've learned a little bit more about the way to set this up. I'm loving that some of the bots now really do look different. I think that's really, really cool. But that is going to be it from me. I really do hope you've enjoyed this episode and are enjoying the series. And if you are, do consider leaving a like on the video down below. But until next time, and as always, do take care, everyone.